Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Far and away, the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." If you're going to be spending a large amount of time at work, you might as well be enjoying it. For a pilot, the sky is your office, and you'll spend thousands of hours there throughout your career, especially if your goal is to fly for a major airline. In this video, we'll explain what time building is, why it's important for pilots, and how pilots can get the most out of it. Before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more aviation tips and insights from Epic Flight Academy. Let's get started.
My name is Ray Altmann, and I'm the Chief Flight Instructor at Epic Flight Academy. Time building is where usually a pilot flies a plane to gain the hours they need, but more importantly, they gain the experience that will make them a better professional pilot.
Time building is the aviation term pilots use to describe accumulating the flight hours needed to qualify for additional pilot certificates, ratings, and eventually professional pilot careers. Every flight you log has a purpose, from your first flight lesson to your final training flights. Each hour in the cockpit helps develop your knowledge, improve your decision-making, and build the experience needed to become a safe and confident pilot. Whether you're earning your private pilot license, instrument rating, commercial pilot certificate, or certified flight instructor certificate, each phase of training builds on the last, preparing you for the next step in your aviation journey.
Every country has a different requirement for the total hours before they are eligible to become an airline transport pilot. For example, in America, we require 1,500 hours, where other countries require somewhere between 250 to 500 hours. So if a pilot's going to earn an ATP or airline transport pilot, that includes both cargo and passenger flying. So that is still going to have the same 1,500 hour requirement in the United States. Certain operations like 135, which is an unscheduled air charter, they sometimes require 1,250 or so. So they could potentially be moving passengers at a lower hour, but to go to the 121 or the major airlines, which include cargo, you need the 1,500.
Time building is about more than simply reaching the minimum flight hour requirements to apply for an airline job. It's an opportunity to sharpen your skills, gain real-world experience, and develop the confidence and judgment needed to safely transition into more advanced aircraft and professional flying. The goal isn't to meet a number. It's to become a proficient, well-rounded, experienced, and most importantly, safe pilot.
Time building can be literal time building, but it's very easy for airlines during interviews to identify if a person was just doing circles in the sky for time purposes, or if they were truly going out and challenging themselves and using the aeronautical knowledge they've built through their training. Things that a pilot can do to make themselves more marketable, I would highly recommend becoming a flight instructor if that's something that is allowable in your country or allowable on your path to becoming a professional pilot. You really do learn a lot more about the intricacies of flying, you understand the knowledge better, and you are helping basically build another pilot, so you're really putting your knowledge to the test while doing so. You could always time build and fly cross country. Definitely not fly in adverse weather that is dangerous, but flying in challenging conditions can make you a better pilot, and practicing, or if you have to experience a real diversion due to weather, that's a really great experience because it's something usually unexpected that occurs. And now you have to come up with a plan of action to get yourself away from this weather or whatever reason the diversion's for.
There are many ways pilots can build flight time, but every flight must be conducted legally and logged in accordance with FAA regulations. At Epic Flight Academy, domestic students build flight time by becoming certified flight instructors, allowing them to teach aspiring pilots while continuing to develop their own knowledge and experience. International students often build time as safety pilots, giving them another opportunity to gain valuable flight experience while remaining compliant with applicable regulations. Beyond flight instruction, pilots can also build time through a variety of flying jobs and operations, including cross-country flying, banner towing, aerial surveying, pipeline or power line patrol, skydiving operations, Part 135 charter flying, cargo flying.
Most domestic students will become flight instructors, whether here at Epic Flight Academy or at other flight schools, and they will earn their 1,500 hours to go to the airlines in America. International students oftentimes will join a time building course that we offer here at Epic Flight Academy, and build the amount of hours that their air agency requires before they return home. Our time building program will consist of generally the student flying with another student, and one student will be the pilot in command and the other pilot will be what is known as a safety pilot. The pilot in command will wear foggles or view limiting devices so they can't see outside, and they use their instruments to navigate, and the safety pilot becomes their eyes. And because of that, the safety pilot can log pilot in command time while the other pilot in command is wearing a view limiting device.
FAA-approved flight simulators are valuable training tools that allow pilots to safely and affordably practice procedures, maneuvers, and emergency scenarios. Pilots can log simulator time, but it is recorded separately from actual flight time. Hours flown in an aviation training device, flight training device, or full flight simulator may count towards certain training requirements, depending on FAA regulations, but they do not count as total flight time because an actual aircraft was not flown. Building flight time is one of the largest investments on the path to becoming a professional pilot. While there isn't a cheap way to build hours, there are ways to reduce costs and maximize the value of every flight. Joining a flying club, taking advantage of block rental rates, flying as a safety pilot, sharing eligible expenses in accordance with FAA regulations, and planning efficient training flights can all help make time building more affordable. Regardless of the approach, never compromise safety simply to save money.
So I've done multiple flights from the New Smyrna campus to the Tucson campus, and the first time I did it, it was definitely my first real test of how to use all the skills I've learned and practiced and taught as an instructor. But this time now is just me on the way to an airport halfway around the United States, and it made me learn how to plan ahead and choose airports that would have the fuel I need and where to stop every night. We've had times where I was flying where there were hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico, and we had to plan different routes that maybe I planned on using a week before when I started my pre-flight planning. Really putting all that into practice as I was flying across the United States really showed me all the things I learned, how valuable they are, and how important it is to continue to use these skills in a realistic manner to be the best pilot you can be.
Time building shouldn't be viewed as simply logging hours until you reach an airline minimum. Every flight is an opportunity to become a better pilot. Whether you're flying cross-country, making weather-related decisions, serving as a safety pilot, or instructing another student, each flight provides valuable experience that goes far beyond the number in your logbook. Those experiences develop the knowledge, judgment, and confidence needed for a successful career, whether your goal is the airlines, cargo, corporate aviation, or another area of professional flying. At Epic Flight Academy, our motto is safety first. That philosophy applies to time building just as much as it does every other aspect of flight training. There are no shortcuts to becoming an experienced pilot. Rather than flying simply to add numbers to your logbook, focus on making every flight meaningful. Every flight should strengthen your aeronautical decision-making, communication skills, navigation, aircraft systems knowledge, weather judgment, professionalism, and cockpit discipline. The safest pilots are those who treat every flight hour as an opportunity to learn. Even during a check ride, when you're demonstrating your abilities, there's always something new to take away from the experience.
So you could get in a plane, take off from the same airport and land at the same airport for however many hours and just fly straight and level and never talk to anyone on the radio if that allows, depending on your environment, of course. And you're really just flying a plane, which is experience, but there is much more experience in putting yourself in a more realistic flight environment where you're trying to get to a destination. You may face more weather or obstacles or terrain along the way. It's going to open the opportunity for more challenging flying, and that's really what separates just time building from building the experience.
Time building isn't simply about reaching a number in your logbook. It's about becoming the pilot those hours are preparing you to be. Challenge yourself, continue learning, and prioritize safety for yourself and your passengers. If flying is your passion, every hour you build is another step towards an incredibly rewarding career of work that is worth doing. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more aviation tips and insights from Epic Flight Academy.